there is something called smiling depression, okay, where the person is smiling along, but he need not be very happy about the whole situation of his life. So I've already spoken about this, so I'll just explain a little about this system before going to the theories of emotions. So this is a slice of the brain. If you slice it into two halves, the right half and the left half, so this is a slice from the center, okay, and this is the cortex. Let me just put this fleshy area, this is the cortex, and these structures that are below it, so these structures that are below it, primarily these structures, these are the subcortical structures. Sub means below, so that lies below the cortex. Okay, so these subcortical structures have a few structures like the amygdala. Then there are some other structures. It's not shown here, but the hypothalamus definitely, and here there is the hippocampus, and this is actually the hippocampus. It looks like a seahorse. Okay, so hippocampus is involved in memory. The hippocampus and the amygdala together are important for emotional memory. Okay, so the things that the memory storage in hippocampus, it is because amygdala is, again, see, it's so closely nearby. So there are information that's shared with both these, and that's why what happens is that each memory has a feeling tone in it. You think about a happy incident. When I say happy incident in your life, you will have certain incidents that will come up in your memory. How, or rather, why do these incidents come up in your memory? If I've asked you to recall a happy incident, because they are mapped as happy. Okay, so if I say sad, there will be some other incidents that will come up. So that just implies that memories have a tagging of a feeling tone or an emotional tone. Okay, so this is done by the amygdala. And there are some other structures called the basal ganglia, the fornix. All these are limbic structures. The limbic system involves these few structures within this area that are engaged in the formation or the feeling of, the expression of an emotion. Now, the hypothalamus, which is again is very close to these structures. The hypothalamus is the coordinating center. What does the hypothalamus do? The hypothalamus stimulates some other structures to secrete hormones. And these hormones, brings about hormones and neurotransmitters. These bring about changes in the body. What changes? They increase the heartbeat. They cause sweating. They cause these gastric changes in the body. So we say thoda pet kaise kar raha hai when you're feeling anxious. Okay, so butterflies in the stomach, dryness of mouth, enlarging of pupils. Okay, so we take in more light when we are anxious. So the arousal state, the changes in the face muscles, the tautness of the muscles, so you're getting ready to fight. If there is a dog with all its teeth out right in front of you, there's a sudden change in the bodily readiness. So the body is made ready to respond, so either by running away or by fighting. Now, this fight or flight response is triggered by the hypothalamus telling other structures to get ready, or sending blood flow to certain organs. So these, along with this, there is this sense of feeling the emotion. I am feeling scared, I am feeling happy, I am feeling excited, I am feeling surprised. These feelings are by the frontal lobe. So this is the prefrontal cortex. I was mentioning that in decision making, you need a close association between these two. So the limbic system and the frontal lobe. Okay, so the subcortical structures and the frontal lobe. Now, what happens is, that's why, so there are two things that happen together when you're feeling any emotion. Okay, whether it's a positive emotion or a negative emotion. One is the changes in the body. Okay, the feeling, the physiological changes, and the other is the feeling of the emotion. So I feel sad. That thinking part of the brain that tells you how you feel. I don't know if I am able to explain. Language is often a barrier. What I'm trying to say is that, emotion, that you are feeling an emotion, that's a thought. मुझे बुरा लग रहा है. Okay, when I say I'm feeling bad, okay, या मैं खुश हूँ, okay, this is a thought. This is, my brain is telling me, so my frontal lobe is telling me. But the changes that happen, ये बुरा लगने के साथ या खुश होने के साथ, that is the physiological changes. Now we can measure both. So there is this is a pathway. I will talk about this pathway later. Let's as I said, these can be measured, and there are various theories that have come up for these emotions. So the first, when I was talking about the dimensional view, I said that, see, valence, arousal, and dominance, these three are the parameters by which we measure emotions. And there are data sets that give you, with emotional pictures, with emotional words, so with auditory responses, with pictures, and with signals, there are databases. So look up affective computing. I have a study on this, on the physiological basis of emotions. I have worked with iApps, and probably I'll share that paper with you. You can take a look at how emotions are measured. Okay, but I was just mentioning that with emotions, there are also, the understanding of the emotion. So each emotion has a physiological arousal, has a cognitive interpretation, a subjective feeling, and behavioral expressions. So, the theories from age-old philosophy to psychology to neuroscience on emotions have looked at these four features. So what is let's look at this cartoon. This is, very simply put, I'll try and explain the theories through this cartoon. Okay, so here is a person who removes the curtain in the bathroom, and he sees that there is a demon sitting in the bathtub with all kinds of harmful instruments with him. Okay, so this person is feeling a physiological arousal. What will be the physiological arousal? If you see a demon sitting in the bathtub, okay, what will be the physiological arousal?
His or her eyes might get bigger in shock, as seen in the picture. Mouth.
No, okay. What else? What else can happen?
Heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
Yes.
Fast heartbeat. Okay, and palpitation. Yes. Okay. So facial expressions change, and fast heartbeat. Okay, let's have these two. Then subjective feeling, fear. Oh my God. Okay, so the person feels fear. Cognitive interpretation, Cognitive means what does he think?
He may have a fear of death suddenly.
Yes, so this is dangerous. This is dangerous. Oh my God, I am at a threat. Okay, I may be harmed. Okay, behavioral expression. Okay, face, blood running away from the face, and blood gushing away from the face, an expression of aghast, whatever. Hmm? So just give me a minute. I have a phone call. Just give me a minute, please. Hello. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Mm, there is a meeting with the director, so the HOD called. Anyways, let's get back to this again. So, okay, now, so this is the, so these are the changes. You understood what is physiological arousal, subjective feeling, cognitive interpretation, and behavioral expression. Now, let's move to how we feel. Okay, so common sense theory. What's the common sense theory? That there's a physiological arousal. I am shaking, and because I am afraid. So the subjective label comes first. I'm afraid, therefore I'm shaking. Got it? That's the common sense theory of emotion. All agree? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, other than the
Yes, ma'am.
women in the class. Are there
Yes,
any
ma'am.
guys in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am? Yes, okay, fine. So now, so the common sense theory states that emotions cause the arousal. Okay, so this was initially how it was thought. Now let's look at there's the next theory that came along. This is in 1890 by James Lange. Okay, So two individuals who got together and they came up with this theory which says that I am afraid because I am shaking. So it's just the opposite of the common sense view. So a stimulus causes a bodily reaction which produces an emotion. So it is because there is a bodily reaction, I feel afraid. So I interpret that bodily reaction. So I'm shaking. So definitely this must be scary. So I'm afraid. Do you agree with this theory? Yes, no? You don't need to understand, you don't need to know physiology to answer this question. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we
You
do.
agree?
Yes,
You
yes.
agree? So once you shiver, then you say कि अरे मुझे तो डर लग रहा है. You laugh and then you say मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. Does that happen?
No,
It
may
ma'am.
happen
Not always,
sometimes.
ma'am.
Not always. Okay. How we, what happens? That the contradictions to this theory was that no, we don't have a discrete time gap between the physiological arousal and the understanding of the emotion. So it may happen together, and that's how Canonbard's theory came into being. So these two people were physiologists, and they said that the physiological arousal and the subjective labeling happens at the same time. So there's one pathway that is going to the frontal area of the brain saying ki array, this is a scary situation, and there's another pathway that is going to the physiological places that are saying that it's the bodily reactions take place. So these happen parallelly. So one does not influence the other. So Canonbard's theory is different from the common sense view that I feel I am afraid, therefore I am shaking, and James Lange's view which says that I am shaking, therefore I am afraid. It says that no, the feeling afraid and the shaking, they happen together, simultaneously they happen. Okay, now comes the new theory. Shachter Singer, these people were more cognitive people. So they were cognitive theorists. So they gave importance to thinking or priority to thinking. So they said that when an individual is having a bodily reaction, so there is a physiological reaction, that's shaking, and there is a subjective label to it. I am afraid. Okay, and that I'm afraid comes after there's a cognitive interpretation. What is that cognitive interpretation? That I perceive a monster to be dangerous, and therefore I am shaking and I am afraid. So the first thing is the cognitive interpretation of the situation. So what does Shachter-Singer theory say? That we think about the stimulus and our bodily reaction and decide on how to feel. Do you agree with this? It's an extension of Canonbard, that there is a physiological reaction, and there is a a thinking part. But this thinking part is happening by looking at the bodily reaction and the situation. So it brings in the cognitive theory of Shachter-Singer, cognitive arousal theory brings in the situation. It says that, okay, it's not so direct like James Lange, that I am shaking, that must be I'm afraid. I am having an increased heartbeat, that must be I'm scared. No, when I have an increased heartbeat, I look at the environment. Am I having say I'm running, okay, and I have an increased heartbeat. Okay, so do I, according to James Lange, then I would say that, okay, I'm having an increased heartbeat, so I'm scared. Okay, but Shachter-Singer says, no, I'm having an increased heartbeat? Is it because it's because a dog is chasing me, so I'm afraid? But if I'm running a race, I interpret I'm running a race, so I'll not be afraid. So the arousal here is not important. The appraisal of the situation or the appraisal of why there is an arousal is important. Am I clear? Are you understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Others, please. Yes, there are just a few individuals whose voice I can hear. Others, are you sleeping? It's extremely frustrating, believe me. If you don't understand, please tell me. Otherwise, if you have you understood, rest of the people? If you do
Yes,
not
ma'am.
say something,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
I will.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
if
Yes,
you've
ma'am.
understood, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, one of you
Yes,
explain.
ma'am.
One of you explain. If you cannot, I will give you a test right now. I'll give you a test right now. Is that comfortable? Is that okay? Yes, no?
Ma'am, the first theory explains that from the response we try to go back to the stimulus. That means first we say that because I am shaking, that is why I am afraid. And the second thing, it says that both of those are happening at the same time. That means I am
Right.
afraid and I am shaking. Both of those are going at the same. And the third theory says that first I perceive that I am afraid. So first I perceive something to be dangerous. Then I start shaking,
No,
and then I start afraid.
no, no. The third theory,
Okay.
that's the Shachter Singer theory. It says that there's a physiological change. There's a physiological change. The physiological change is the shaking. Okay. But I am afraid the feeling comes later. But first comes an appraisal of the situation. So this is one. This is one. This is two. This is two. And this is the result. So just to give you another example, that you are running and you are having an increased heartbeat. So that's the physiological arousal. Increased heartbeat does not always mean that you will feel afraid. James Lange's theory, which said that it's just an interpretation of the physiological arousal, would say that increased heartbeat would mean afraid. But Shachter Singer, they say that no. This theory says that no. First, increased heartbeat or shaking, you have to see the situation. Why is there an increased heartbeat? Say if there's an increased heartbeat because you are running and you are running because a dog is chasing you, then you will feel afraid. But there's an increased heartbeat and you are running, but you're running because you're running a race, then you will not feel afraid. You will feel excited. So what we do is we constantly appraise and reappraise ourselves. We understand what situation this is, and then we feel sad or happy or whatever. Another example, say you are today, right now you receive a phone call, okay, and immediately you're told that your HOD, whoever calls you, tells you very sternly that your HOD wants to talk to you immediately. Okay, now, or the director wants to talk to you immediately. Now there's an increased heart rate. Okay, oh my God, why is he wanting to talk to me? But this increased heart rate, whether it will be fear or it will be excitement, will depend on your appraisal of the situation. So if you know that, okay, he is going to call me to let me know about a prize, about an award that I'm going to receive, then the increased heartbeat will be interpreted as excitement. But if you are in threat of some kind of a scolding, then that increased heart rate will mean, will make you feel scared. So this appraisal is as per the situation. And the last one is again, it is also a cognitive theory. It's Lazarus's theory, and it's known as the cognitive mediation theory. So in simple words, it is our appraisal of this situation or the stimulus determines the emotions. It is very similar to the previous theory. So I perceive the monster to be dangerous, that's why I'm afraid. It's a simplification of the previous theory. The previous theory takes into view the Schachter Singer. They say that, there's a cognitive interpretation, there's a physiological arousal, and then these two are combined to have a subjective evaluation, subjective labeling of the emotion. But here, in Lazarus's theory, they say, Lazarus said that you just, this cognitive interpretation is enough. I perceive this monster to be dangerous. So here the primary word is dangerous. So if I perceive this as dangerous, I am afraid. So I don't need to have a physiological arousal to feel afraid. Just the thought itself is enough. The thought, actually, a thought can arouse any emotion. Do you agree? A thought can arouse an emotion?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, no? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you give me an example? Can you give me an example?
Ma'am, when we think of say freedom fighters, then we feel patriotic.
Yes, I'll give you a simpler example. If somebody abuses you, बहुत गाली दिया, what is the emotion you feel?
Anger.
What's the emotion? Anger. Okay. Why? These are just words. Isn't it? No. So words. Now, if the person was abusing you in Hindi, you understand all the words. Okay. And you feel angry because those words itself can stir an emotion. So you do physical changes to, heartbeat बढ़ नहीं गया, it every cell of your body you're feeling a change, and that's why you feel angry. It's not like that. Just the words, the cognitive interpretation means the meaning of the words to you makes you angry. Suppose a person is abusing you in Russian. You are far from the language, you do not understand, you just can see that a person is shouting at you. Will it make you as angry, or will you make you angry? Will it make you angry at all? No, because you don't know the interpretation of that word. So words or thoughts itself can arouse emotion. You can, think and make yourself angry. You can think and make yourself calm. This is what we focus on when we talk about feeling calm through mindfulness. Feeling calm, we train individuals to feel calm or feel happy. So it's a mindset. What do we mean by mindset? So this is a physiology, a mindset. You can actually, just by thinking, calm yourself. I truly wish this was a physical class. I could have shown you through biofeedback mechanisms how you can calm yourself just by telling yourself that, well, there are some instructions one needs to give and you can calm yourself. Similarly, you can arouse yourself. You can make yourself angry. You can make yourself agitated. So when I say you can make yourself angry or agitated, it's actually you can bring about physiological changes. You can increase your heart rate. You can increase your blood flow to certain parts of the body just by the way you think. So what I am trying to get at is that it's all in the mind, how you perceive things, how you look at things, how you stir up your body. yes, external agents can bring about a change, but they can also, you can create that yourself within the body. Okay, so the final theory is of facial feedback theory or facial feedback hypothesis, which is like, which says that my face is doing crazy things. There are facial changes, expressions, and I am interpreting these muscle movements and becoming afraid. So your facial expressions changes how you feel. Do you agree with this or?
Yes, ma'am. Facial expressions do change.
Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am. Facial
Facial
expressions do change.
expressions change, do change in emotions. That is, emotions bringing about a change in facial expressions. Here, it's just the opposite. That facial expressions changed. That's why I'm feeling scared. My face is making a frown, so I'm feeling sad. Do you agree?
Ma'am, generally
No,
it is
ma'am.
the opposite way around.
Yes, ma'am. Also, I was
Opposite way around.
thinking that
Okay, but this is a feedback hypothesis. Yes,
yes, ma'am. So,
this is a feedback. You know, the inputs from your body also go to the brain, and it helps you feel good or feel bad. So at the initiation, facial feedback theory, you will think that, well, this is wrong. Why? Because I am smiling, I don't feel happy. I may smile a lot, but that does not mean I am happy. But because I'm happy, I smile. So the facial expression changes with the emotion. So emotion comes first, then the expression. That's how we actually think. But the feedback is, there's a feedback loop. Feedback loop means how your body is responding. That information also goes back to the brain. So that's why if you are smiling despite not feeling happy, somehow that feedback from your facial expressions also goes to the brain. Somehow, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that that information also goes to the brain and tells the brain that it is not so sad a situation. See, there's some element of feeling good. That's why this person is smiling. So the smiling itself reduces the intensity of the negative emotion. This is the simple theory by which the laughter clubs work. Okay, you have these laughing clubs and all this, right, in the parks. And we say that if you smile a lot, you will often see websites telling you that if you smile, you will feel happy. If you show gratitude, you will feel happy. What are these mechanisms triggering on? Gratitude increases the connect, feeling good that somebody is there for me. So this thought goes to the brain and it tells you that, well, you are not alone. The brain tells you back that you are not alone. There are people there to help you. Right. Similarly, so there's this interpersonal connection that's created. The facial feedback hypothesis is the feedback from the face, irrespective of what you're feeling, the expression, a positive expression, that information goes back to the brain and says that, so the brain again tells the person that, well, this is not so bad a situation. See, you are smiling. So it's not, the intensity of the emotion is reduced. So intensity of sadness is reduced. So we say smile a lot, interact with people. That will make you feel better. If you frown a lot, that feedback also goes to the brain and says, see, इसमें कुछ खास खुश होने का जगह नहीं है. Even, if it was you watched a good movie and then you frown किया, इतना भी कुछ खास अच्छा नहीं था. Okay, this feedback, of your statement, of your frown, this facial expression goes to the brain and reduces the feeling tone. So positive feeling tone about the movie वो थोड़ा नीचे हो गया. So similarly, if there is a negative emotion that you are experiencing, if you give contradictory information to the brain, like बुरा लग रहा है, I'm not feeling good, but I'm smiling. So when that smile, the expression, the information from the face goes to the brain, it reduces the intensity of the emotion. And you know, all these that I'm talking of have been experimentally verified. Okay, I will stop here. I will talk about measuring emotions in another class. What I will do is I'll take an extra class to explain this, or perhaps let's see what we can do about it. Are there any questions? Any questions? Yes, no? None.